Welcome back to NFL Kings, Week 8 of the NFL season, as we make our picks and break down each one of the Week 8 games. I'm going to be starting with the Patriots-Bills game in the 11 o'clock slate. The early matchup for this game has it as a Buffalo -4 with the over-under at 41. They have it as a slight Bills favorite at around just under 60% chance to win. This is a big factor in this game. We're going to have rain and winds pushing over 20 miles an hour, pretty much on the East Coast. There is going to be some major weather, so keep that in mind if you're betting any, especially if you're betting any unders and overs. There's going to be huge factors there. The unders have already dropped over 5 points since the early week lines. In some respects, even more. It is going to be raining. We have, based upon our rankings, the 17th ranked Patriots versus the 11th ranked Bills facing off. Just looking at some of the stats real quick. We have Bills, the Patriots, pretty good rushing team, 155 yards per game. Obviously, the Bills can't run the ball at all. I mean, they're one of the worst rushing teams in football. That's pretty much shown here. But they're a pretty darn good passing team. Well, guess what? This game is going to be about rushing, right? This game is going to be on the ground, okay? So that's going to really cause this number to be very, very interesting, right? And then you're talking about they only give up 132, that's actually a very high number. They do give up a lot on the ground, but Bills can't run the ball. I mean, we've seen that time and time again against teams that are, they've played multiple teams with horrendous rush defenses, and they have not been able to run the ball all season long. So I don't expect that to end here. In fact, my early pick was the Bills, and I think I'm going to be changing it. Outside of Cam Newton just completely, I would be shocked if he had 3 horrendous games in a row. That would be pretty crazy. But at the same time, he is coming off COVID. He does look a little thinner. He doesn't quite look right physically, so that is a big question. For me, this is a stay away game. I'm actually not even going to bet this game outside of probably the under, except that line is probably moved even more now. I may even just completely stay off this game. If there are, as far as our recommendations for this game, our early picks have it as we had the Bills money line and the Patriots +10 teaser. I'm not so sure about this Bills money line. I might be changing that. Honestly, I would avoid this game for the money line, and the only thing I would bet is this teaser. If it is at 4 or 4.5, if you can get it 4.5, that'd be even better. Obviously, get the 10.5 or get the hook or pay for the 6.5 points. Because I'd be shocked. As bad as the Bills need this game, and this is their time. If they can't win this game, who can they beat, right? But let's see. I'm gonna quickly run through the matchups. Gosh, man, New England's linebackers are playing horrible. They have no front. They have no push. Right, but they can kind of stop the run a little bit, but not really. But this makes sense as to why they're really struggling to stop the run. They're kind of in the middle of the pack, which honestly could be a big day for Josh Allen rushing. I'm all over his rushing prop. I am all over his rushing prop. If he doesn't hit like 75 to 80 yards rushing, I'd be shocked, and I'm not kidding about that, folks. He is going to run the ball a lot, especially in these conditions. It is just going to be a matter of, they don't. Honestly, New England doesn't have the players to stop Josh Allen. They don't. So he's going to be a big factor in this game, and probably the reason why the Bills win will be because of Josh Allen's play. If he struggles, has multiple turnovers, I would definitely give the edge to New England. If I would say if Buffalo turns the ball over twice, I would say New England has a huge edge in this game because I actually do not expect them to throw the ball too much. I expect them to run the ball a lot. More than 70% of the plays I expect to be run plays for the New England Patriots, going after this front, going after this horrid rush defense, and really kind of attacking them, attacking those linebackers. We are talking about one of the best offensive lines in football. New England does have a very good offensive line. They haven't played, particularly great overall, but they have a very good offensive line overall. They can absolutely play with this front. I mean, it's just not that great. Tre'Davious White's not playing that great this season either, which is really hurting them. Unfortunately, New England has zero weapons. I mean, absolutely. Byrd is literally their top weapon is Damiere Byrd. Like, wow. That's scary. That's scary to think about, right? So, really kind of looking at it, I'm definitely recommending a stay away for us. It is a stay away. A lot to think about, but really, it just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. So looking at the final numbers. Oh, I guess I should fix that. Okay, so yeah, you're talking about Patriots only score about 19 points a game compared to Bills at 25. I mean, that could be a big factor too. They've really been struggling to score points, especially lately. Not even getting to 20. I mean, right here, that's nothing. 45 points right there, and that's not including the conditions, and they have it at 41. I mean, right there is definitely a big consideration for the under. You combine that though with how bad these defenses are, and it's just like, you question it, right? 31.3 or which one? 23.8. I mean, and 25.4. I mean, those aren't bad numbers by all accounts. It's middle of the pack in comparison to the other teams, but it's just not great either at the same time. So the under could definitely still hit over just because of a couple turnovers here, especially in this game. I expect there to be at least 3 to 4 turnovers with the conditions being what they are, the quarterbacks playing the way they are right now. It definitely lends itself to being a little bit more of a high turnover game. So yeah, definitely a stay away. We're going to actually move on from this game since it is a stay away. And let's fix that. And we're going to take a look at the Titans-Bengals, a game I really like. We are at around a 64% clip as far as them potentially winning. They are at a 7-point favor right now, which is something I don't like. I have not bet them at 7. I have them at 6. I have them at 6.5 a lot. I have them a lot at both 6 and 6.5. And I would recommend that if you can get that price. But if you get it at 7, I honestly would pass against the spread and look to tease that down to 1 or just take Titans on the money line. Honestly, probably just Titans on the money line. If you're going to do like a parlay bet, is probably the safest bet you got. One of the safest bets around. I mean, honestly, guys, are the Titans losing to the Bengals this week? Are they? If they lose to the Bengals, wow. I mean, I get it. Tough week. They obviously play Pittsburgh. Honestly, they could have came back in that game and could have potentially won if Gostkowski, could make a field goal. But, I mean, just looking at the matchup, folks, like, do y'all really think that the offensive line, which right now for Cincinnati is grading as the worst offensive line in football, is going to be able to stop Jeffrey Simmons? I'm sorry. He's going to have a freaking field day. I'm taking his over prop on his. Clowney's going to have a freaking monster day as well and should be in that backfield all day, especially in the run game. I don't expect them to run the ball at all. They are probably going to have to go with another spread formation game, which is honestly better for Burrow. Like that actually plays to Burrow's strengths. So shockingly, Zach Taylor doesn't have much of a choice. He has to play more of a spread type system, which goes away from what Zach Taylor actually wants to do. But it's actually what Burrow's actually good at. So that actually helps Burrow in a lot of ways. And obviously the corners and just overall defense for the Tennessee Titans is atrocious. It's getting better in some games, and they were able to keep Pittsburgh, under 30. So I would be shocked if this game rose to over 30 for them. But here's the big factor, especially. I don't see this Bengals defense getting off the field. I, I want to know where along that front they're going to stop Derrick Henry. Uh, if Derrick Henry doesn't run for 150 yards, then the Tennessee Titans don't know what they're doing, because that's all you have to do to win this game. I mean, quite literally, control the game with the ground game against one of the worst rush defenses in football, and that should allow you to have success, right? We're having, obviously this is another one of those 45 cloudy, 20-mile-an-hour winds. It doesn't look like it is going to be raining, but it's the wind that's going to be the big factor. And Joe Burrow doesn't have like a super strong arm either, so that, I'm telling you folks, it's really going to really lean itself toward the Titans. I would actually put this more around 66%. We're talking about the 6th ranked team going against the 28th ranked team as well. I mean, that's legit, folks. Bengals, I mean, you might be able to say maybe the 25th, 26th ranked team. I mean, right now I have like the Eagles. I mean, would you take the Eagles or the Bengals, right? I mean, the Eagles really should have won that game when they played, right? So, and that's about where they're at most, 25, 26. So that's where the Bengals are. They're not a good team, folks. Their defense is atrocious. Burrow's allowed them to cover occasionally. You're going against a team that runs the ball for 145.2, going against a team that gives up over 130 a game. Yeah, I think they're going to be able to run the ball, folks. And then you're going against a team that doesn't run the ball in windy conditions. And yes, I know that the Bills give up a pretty good, or Titans give up a pretty good amount on the ground, but like, they don't run the ball well. Their offensive line sucks, and Gio's not really an elite rusher. If they had Joe Mixon, maybe, but yeah, no. So that's gonna really cause them to struggle, I think, to move the ball. I expect the Bengals to score less than 17 points in this game. I believe their early numbers, as we look at the final numbers here, I'm just gonna scroll this over for you guys. We're looking at Titans scoring 31 points a game. I'd say that's pretty legit. Do you honestly think the Bengals are going to be able to put up 31 in this game, in a windy game? Yeah, no, I don't think so. They're 23-24. Yeah, I'd say it'll be closer to 17-16 just based upon the conditions. Looking at 25.5 and 27.5. So obviously neither defense is very good, really. But the offense of the Titans should control the clock, should control the game. I actually expect this to go under as well because of the conditions and how much I expect the Titans to be able to run the ball. If they don't run the ball on 70% of the 65+% of the plays, like, I don't know what the heck they're doing. Trying to think, we have comes to our picks for this week, or for this particular game. What is this not working? I don't know why. Okay, it's being a little finicky right now. So this is one of our best bets. We had it at Titans -6.5, so that's why I had that listed at -6.5, because that's where I bet it. If you get it for 7, I would honestly pass and recommend passing, just because of how low scoring the game is, how many close games the Titans do play. So that's why the Titans minus half a point on the teaser, or minus a point on the teaser, is our best bet, one of our best bets of the week. That is the one I have on most of my cards. Titans money line as well. I have that on many cards as well. I just feel really good about that bet. I believe I got it for like, I want to say -2.5. I think it was like -250 or something like that. So it's just kind of obviously just going to depend on the price and stuff like that. But that's one of our best bets of the week, and what we expect to happen based upon the conditions and all the mitigating factors, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the Raiders and Browns. Looking at Sorry about that. Scroll over real quick. Oops. No, wait, does that? So we have the Raiders getting 2.5. The Browns are a slight favorite. It seems like it's been at 2.5 pretty much all week, and I don't even think that line's moved. They do list it as a slight favorite for the Browns at 55. I would put this closer to 51, 52%. I mean, this is literally a 52-48 game in my opinion. 49.5, that's going to go under, or with 25-mile-an-hour winds. That's going under, folks. There's going to be 60% of the plays on this game will be rushing plays, especially considering the Browns love to run the ball. I mean, they're one of the best rushing teams in football, and that'll be dictated out here, right? I mean, 25-mile-an-hour winds. It is going to be raining. It's going to be windy. Yeah, we have this 14-15. Yeah, I mean, these are identical teams. Very, very similarly ranked. Very, very, very similar teams overall. Both in what their style is and what they like to do. All right, just totally watch that. Let's see. There we go. So we got 113 and obviously 157 for the Bengals for the Browns. They are one of the best rushing teams in football, but they can't pass block because Mayfield's not that great. And this day, this is probably gonna be like 150 yards. If that, for Mayfield. Away passing, that number is going to be shrunk dramatically, because obviously Derek Carr is not going to be able to dictate. The deep passing game not being there is definitely going to hurt them. And really, I think it's going to come down to the matchups on the fronts, which is really, really interesting. I'm telling you, folks, this is probably the closest match game I've seen so far in the week. And you look at it, and looking at their players right now, and you just see up front, obviously, offensive line for Cleveland, one of the top 3 or 4 in football. I mean, they're very, very good up front. You got the receivers playing well. Kareem Hunt's playing well. Overall, their offensive line is going to be able to score some points on this Raiders defense, who's played well but not great. Corners have really struggled. Their safeties have really struggled. Linebackers have just been okay. I haven't seen a lot of production overall, but their front is decent enough to stop the run. It's not great, but it's enough that they should be able to stop the run. Wait a second, what? Why did that? I don't know why that switched. That was very annoying. 287.7, 216. And then you look at the home teams only giving up 92 rushing yards. Like, that's pretty big compared to and I do see this matchup definitely favoring the Cleveland Browns in that rushing attack. Like, they're going to be able to run the ball on this Raiders defense. It's going to be able to happen. And unfortunately for the Browns' pass defense isn't anything special. They've given up quite a few big plays because their secondary is outside of Denzel Ward, not that great, and they relied too heavily on Myles Garrett to get pressure. While going against this front, Trent Brown, I mean, they're not going to get pressure on a consistent basis. Like, that's just not going to happen with this offensive line. So I would be pretty surprised if the Raiders aren't able to run the ball pretty effectively. I actually expect both teams to run the ball effectively. It's really just going to come down to execution, and who's able to execute in the execute enough passes, I should say, in the tough conditions. I'd say scheme-wise, they're both very similar as far as kind of what they want to do in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously, it has a little bit more as far as the Raiders. They want to try to get the ball out of their hands and their playmakers as quickly as possible and get them run action after the catch. A little bit more for the Browns, they're looking more for running and then play action with the boots. So it just kind of depends on the play style. But I do slightly lean toward the Raiders overall in this game, just because they are a little bit better roster overall. Actually, yeah, they have a little bit better roster overall. You know, you'd say offensive line, you give a slight edge to the to the Browns, but not by much. Receivers, you'd give the edge actually to the Raiders. They're three between Waller, Ruggs, and Aguilar's actually playing really good for them right now. They've got a few other weapons as well, but it's really more about those guys. And you compare that with really just Jarvis Landry. I mean, that's all they really have left. You got Higgins playing well. You know, ODB is obviously hurt for the year. You know, the running back position is a wash. You know, Hunt and Jacobs. Obviously, I would take Jacobs just slightly, but not by much. It's, you know, Landry and Higgins, good receivers, nothing to write home about. They're nothing elite. I'd say the tight end position definitely leans. Obviously, Waller's one of the best in the league, but you know the Browns have some pretty good tight ends. That's what I'm saying. Like the offenses for both these teams, that's where their strengths are for both these teams, and they both want to kind of control the clock, especially from the ground. So that's going to be a big factor in this game, and really whoever does that is going to really dictate this game. I would be a little bit surprised if one of them actually ran away with this game, just because they're just so evenly matched across the board. I would say it's really just going to come down to who can execute in the win better. And I don't know, who do you trust, Mayfield or Derek Carr? I'd say Derek Carr just slightly, right? I mean, Mayfield's grading out as one of the sixth, seventh worst quarterback in the league right now. Derek Carr's not. Derek Carr's kind of in the middle of the pack, you know, and honestly, he could even be better. Um, like, like I would say, some of his ratings are a little bit lower because when Ruggs is on the field, he's a little bit of a different quarterback. But Ruggs will be out there, and he should be able to open things up a little bit, even with the crappy conditions. They're obviously not gonna be able to throw deep at all. Really, I mean, maybe they'll try. I don't know. I don't expect them to. I think we'll just have to kind of see how that game plays out. But I do expect it to be a little bit more of a kind of run after catch game. Who can make tackles? You know, which defense is going to be able to make tackles, and which offense is going to be able to kind of execute in those really, really tough conditions where honestly 49.5 seems like an insane number for a game where both teams are going to be able to run the ball pretty effectively and not throw the ball very effectively. So that's, yeah, that's an under game, folks. Yeah, I'm all over that under. Colts Lions. That is another intriguing game. And really, wow, to put it at 57, I think that's way too high. 53, 50. I mean, we have it at 13-20, yes, but I actually have the Lions. They could easily be at 17, 16, right? Bears. Who'd you take on neutral field? Bears or Lions? Really? I mean, they're basically the same, right? You take the Lions offense and then you take the Bears defense, and who's gonna win? That's basically what it would be, right? Because the Bears offense is atrocious and the Lions defense is not that great, right? So you'd say that. Let's see, but in this particular matchup, it's a little bit different, right? So obviously, it's showing. The Colts is giving up only 98 rushing yards a game. Or, which one was it? The Colts only rushing for 98 yards a game. That's real? They only rush for 98 yards a game with this rush offense. I'm sorry, I actually need to double check that stat. Something about that does not seem right. I'm going to give me a sec. I'm going to double check that I got that stat right. Because that seems crazy low. I mean, it might be right. It might be right. But with that offensive line, are they really only running for 98 a game? It's like, are you kidding me? Yeah, 98 a game. That's so freaking bad. That is so bad. With the offensive line that they have, that is so horrendous. That is the worst play calling I've ever seen then. That's the only explanation. They do not know how to call plays. I mean, you're talking about top 5 offensive line. I mean, I get it if Le'Raven Clark has to play. Is Le'Raven Clark playing? Oh, gosh. Forgot to look at injuries, folks. Completely overlooked injuries. I cannot believe I overlooked injuries. And Kelly's questionable. They don't list Costanzo as on the injured list, so I'm gonna assume he's playing because he's not even listed on the injury report. Taylor Decker might not play. That could be big. Ooh, that could be big. Justin Houston might be able to get some pressure. That's interesting. Very interesting. As up front, I mean, Buckner doesn't have a great matchup. They have decent guards and there's a pretty good center. And honestly, the Detroit Lions, since they've gotten Galladay, have just been a completely different team. And I expect Galladay to have a freaking field day against Rhodes, he absolutely torches Rhodes every time he plays him. The interesting matchup, though, I'm very intrigued. Here's the problem. So Detroit is the worst. I'm not kidding, folks. They are the worst coach team in football outside of the New York Jets. I have them as a bottom feeder coach team, and that really hurts. It really hurts because going against a pretty good coach team, like Frank Wright's not a great coach, but they're pretty well coached overall. Defensively, they're well coached, and I don't expect them to be able to run the ball. And here's the reason why. Because the Detroit Lions are the stupidest team on the planet. They give the ball to Adrian Peterson literally every time he comes on the field. They don't run play action anytime he comes on the field. They literally give him the ball every time he comes on the field. And he's grading out as the worst running back in football right now, folks. I'm not kidding about that. He is getting a situation where the defense literally knows he's getting the ball every time he gets on the field. I mean, it's horrible offense. DeAndre Swift is so much better than him at this point in his career. I'm sorry, AP, I love you, baby, but you're just not as talented, and they don't know what the frick they're doing with you, so they don't need to have you on the field, period. I'm sorry, but like that is the way I feel. I really wish, and this is the reason why I don't think I'm going to be betting on the Detroit Lions literally all season, is because I cannot trust their coaching staff because they don't know what the F they're doing on how to call plays, on how to actually move the freaking football. With this offense, you give them a good coaching staff, they're a top 3 offense. No. A top 3 offense. You're talking about a really solid offensive line, a pretty damn good tight end, 2 elite receivers, 1 elite receiver, 2 solid receivers, a top 20 quarterback, and a top 20 running back. That right there, folks, should be a top 10 offense in football, and it's not even freaking close. Not even freaking close. 98 and 269.2, 108 and 263.3. Like, seriously? Seriously? You don't even average 400 yards a game with this offense. Are you freaking kidding me? That's so pathetic. So pathetic. You play in a dome. That is so egregious. You play in a freaking dome. Oh my God. That is so bad. So bad. Ugh. It's almost as bad as the Bears. God. The Broncos, dude. Who've been playing with backup quarterbacks. They've been playing with the freaking backup quarterbacks. And they're almost as bad as the Broncos. Oh my God. Why is that so egregious? Honestly, the Ravens are not good either. They've been really struggling to throw the ball, though. So that actually makes sense. At 357, like, that's pretty horrendous. But when you only throw for 193, it's because they can't throw the ball on the edge. We'll get into that game in a minute. All right. So just kind of looking at the final numbers for this game. Don't love... Well, all right. Because this is obviously playing a dome. So this is one where the over definitely could hit if, well, these teams know how to execute on offense. Because, right, looking at the numbers, we have, there we go, 26.2, 26. I mean, like, literally identical which is why this game should be a field goal kind of game. And if you can get, I mean, Detroit plus the 8.5 is probably the only bet I even feel comfortable with. Or 9, I guess it is now, because it is -3. I don't even think I'd bet the Colts money line, honestly. This is what the bet I would recommend. This Lions teaser plus 9. Lions at home, even matchup, low scoring game. Those 9 points are big. That's big. That's big in a game like this. So I would take the Lions and the 9 on the teaser. I think that's the only card worth playing in that game. So I'll quickly move on to Packers. And so we have another crazy weather game, right? 25-mile-an-hour winds. This is another thing that's really intriguing. 60%. That is such a low number to me for a -6 to 7 favorite. That is, I mean, you'll notice here they have it at 66% for Baltimore at -4.5. Like, that is such a crazy number. They really, really don't like the Packers here. I don't know why. I'm still trying to figure it out in my head. I mean, I get it. Dalvin Cook's coming back. The weather is definitely favoring toward the Minnesota Vikings. Like, the bad weather game, definitely favoring toward the Minnesota Vikings. But who are you going to take to throw the ball through the wind in 25-mile-an-hour winds, though, folks? Who are you taking, Aaron Rodgers, or are you taking Kirk Cousins? Like, let's be honest. Who's going to be able to throw through the wind? But this is where it just, like, 5-24. They're legitimately the 24th ranked team. They are. Based upon the wave they've played this season. They just got rid of their only pass rusher. They have no pass rush at all. I'm not kidding. They have 0 pass rusher. 0 whatsoever. They're, if not the worst, they are one of the worst pass rushes in all of football. I have them currently as the worst. I'm not kidding. Who's gonna get pressure? Who's gonna get pressure on the best offensive line in football? Who's gonna get pressure right now? Let me see. So is Holmes gonna get pressure? God, no. Johnson? What? Jaleel Johnson? No way. No. Shamar Stephen? Do you guys even know who these players are? No, because nobody does. Because they're horrible. They're horrible. Every one of them. They're gonna get run all over. I don't even think Jeff Gladney's going to play. They say he's going to play, but I don't think he is. They literally have Harrison Smith and Eric Kendricks. That's it. That's who they have on this defense. That is it. There's nobody left. Their starting defense is gone. Okay? Minnesota's defense is probably the worst in football right now. It's probably the worst. There's a reason why Atlanta dropped 45 on them. Okay? You're talking about one of the better offensive lines in football. They're going to dictate downhill. Williams, they ran just fine. They ran just fine without Aaron Jones. Jamal Williams is a baller. A.J. Dillon can play, right? You combine that with how good Devontae Adams looks right now. Who's stopping Devontae Adams on that team? They have to double cover him every day. If they don't double cover him every play, he might catch 200 yards passing. In 25-mile-an-hour winds. He might. Like, that's how bad their secondary is. It's so bad. But here's where the matchup can go right. So I'll just tell you right now. The only way Minnesota wins this game is a 2+2 in the turnover battle. That is the only chance in hell that they win this game. Only chance. Because I don't care how much maybe Dalvin Cook runs for 200 yards. How is he going to run for 200 yards in 25-mile-an-hour winds when the defense knows that they're going to be running the ball? I would be shocked. Plus, I expect them to be playing from behind. I don't expect a great day. Just matchup-wise, like, literally, there's very few playmakers on the Minnesota defense. There's quite a few on the Green Bay Packer defense. They got a decent front. They got the best corner in football in Jair. Going against Justin Jefferson and Thielen. They got good receivers on Minnesota, but they're not going to be able to get the ball to them. And I think they're actually going to be struggling to run the ball overall just because of the conditions and the expectation for the Packers. They should be able to slow down this run game and the running attack. So that's kind of where I lean. And if you notice, the numbers too actually lean toward the Packers, even in the rushing stat. Like originally, people were thinking, oh yeah, Packers don't have a great rush defense. Well, Minnesota has a worse rush defense, folks. 127 a game. That's freaking horrible. 127 is horrible. That's bottom feeder. That's bottom feeder status. That's in this range where we consider these bad defenses, right? So, I mean, 110, that's really not that bad. Now, some of that's been because they've been ahead in so many games. Teams haven't been able to run the ball. They've had to pass. And you'll notice in their passing stats, they've given up 260, which is a decent number, right? And that's more because they've just been ahead and had to dictate from ahead. Let's see. So looking at our picks, it's Packers, and it's Packers. I'm bullish on the Packers this week. I know the numbers don't. There's some scary things about this game, and the reason why the line hasn't moved is even more scary. And looking at the green line as well. Hold on one sec. I just want to see where the money's being bet on this game. It looks like, yeah, and if you'll notice too, only little over 50% of the money is on the Packers. That's so crazy to me. So crazy to me. Based upon everything I've looked at, there's only one way Minnesota's even in this game, let alone like keeping it close, folks. Only way is 2 turnovers. 2. They have to win by 2. At least 2 in the turnover margin. That is the only chance they have. And the way that's going to have to happen is on fumbles, because I don't expect Rodgers to have another picks against these corners. They're freaking horrible. And this, obviously, the conditions can definitely dictate some of that, but I just don't see it, folks. I don't see it. I don't know why people are betting Minnesota. I have no idea. I have no idea why anybody's betting Minnesota. I'm still trying to figure it out. I mean, I get it. Dalvin Cook's coming back. They kept it within 9 in the first matchup. The Vikings are worse than they were in week 1. They're worse. Their roster right now, currently constructed, is significantly worse, actually, based upon injuries, trades, all that. They don't look good either in any game. They got blown out by the freaking Falcons for a reason. Kirk Cousins is not good. Oh, he's just okay. Oh, the numbers just are scaring me though, so that's why. I mean, we have this as one of the locks of the week, but I'm scared by this game too. So I've actually I've been fading it lately. I had so much money on it early that right now I've been just kind of fading it lately. But I'm not putting any money on Minnesota. I don't think there's any way Minnesota wins this game. No freaking way should Minnesota beat the Packers. There's no way. There's no effing way they should win. And I don't understand 40%. 40%. They give them a 40% chance to win the game. To win the game. Are you kidding me? You're joking, right? Like, what? How are they going to win this game with those 2 receivers in these win conditions? That was their only chance. Their only chance was in good conditions, honestly. In bad conditions, the numbers favor the Packers even more, not less. That's why I don't understand. Like, do people think that all of a sudden Minnesota has a great rush defense? No, they're worse than the Packers. They're worse. They're the worst rush defense, one of the worst in football. Their defense is horrible. They don't have any playmakers. They have nobody on the front. Everybody's injured. They're playing all backups. It's like going in with backups against Aaron Rodgers. How are they getting pressure against one of the best offensive lines in football? I don't understand. Like, that's why, like, I'm sorry. If the Packers lose this game, it's because they got outcoached. That's the only way. Outcoached and 3 turnovers. I mean, that's the only way they can lose that game. Okay, we need to move on. I'm going to literally lose my mind on that game. Like, I don't know what people are betting, why people are betting Minnesota. Good luck, folks. If you're betting Minnesota, good luck. I hope you win. No, I don't. No, I hope you get annihilated because I have so much money on the other side. Okay, here we go. 94-5. They give them a 5% chance to win. Wow. That's more than I would give the Jets, honestly. Even if Mahomes decided to not play, they would still win probably by 2 touchdowns. Jets are so bad. I'm bullish on the Chiefs money line, but like, what's your price? Like 3,000? I mean, they're probably a 3,001 favorite right now. I'm not even kidding. I think it started the week at 22,000 or 2,200. I mean, the only bet I would really think about is this Chiefs teaser 13.5. I think they are going to win by 2 touchdowns. So that, I do have that in a few places. There's a reason why I'm not even going to bother going really over the number. I can go over the numbers. I'll do it really fast. It's insanity. Okay. You really want to see the numbers, folks? 104, 130, legit rush. 187. That's so bad. That's horrendous. They don't even have 200 yards passing. They don't even average 200 yards passing a game. That's so pathetic. Compared to 273, obviously from Mahomes. They give up, wow, so yeah, nearly over 100 yards more expected. To get more, they give up over 150 rushing yards a game. 150 rushing yards giving up. Wow. Chiefs, that's pathetic. That's so bad. 150 rushing yards per game given up on the ground. What the F is that? I mean, that's, I guess, a way the Jets could kind of keep this close, is because they literally can't stop a nosebleed on the ground. And their actual numbers at 374 are not good. and that we're talking, 12 points a game compared to 31. Obviously, that's more than 2 touchdowns. And that's the reason why, what do they have it at 19.5? That's, yeah, about right, 19.5. Right? So, yeah, I mean, that spread's pretty much right on of what would you expect. So, yeah, I mean, can you trust the Chiefs to just, like, not care? I mean, you're talking about 30. Here's the other thing. No, 1 versus 32. Okay, I can't. No more time on this ridiculously horrible game. Does anybody even want to watch that game? I hope not. Outside of their own zone cities. Okay, so we got the Rams Dolphins. This should be a very good game and a very difficult game to pick. And we don't. This is a complete stay away. And the reason is because of Tua. We don't know what to expect from Tua, and neither do the Rams. So the Rams don't really know. I mean, they're gonna have to watch tape of Tua in college. Like, I mean, the 2 plays basically he had passing, I mean, that's not really going to show much. I don't like the fact that they're going to have to get the ball out in under 2.5 seconds to even have a chance in this game. The weather could play a factor if it wasn't the Rams. I get that the Rams are on a short week, but the Rams play in LA. They're used to hot weather. They should not be affected by the weather at all. It's really just going to come down to the matchups. And unfortunately, obviously, Rams do run the ball well, and not the greatest rushing team in the Dolphins. Yeah, pretty similar numbers here, and honestly, I expect Tua to be somewhere in that 250 range to 200 minimum, 250 probably, though, especially in this game. Because obviously, if we're looking at the numbers, the pass defense isn't anything special for either team. Looking at 125 given up by the Rams. Or by the Dolphins, though, on the ground. That could be a big factor. That's a big number. 125. That could definitely lean itself toward the Rams being able to dictate up front. And looking at the matchups of the players, I'm going to take a quick look here. We got... Oh, wow, man. Offensive line for Dolphins is bad. Oof. Oh, it's really bad. Oh, God. Aaron Donald's going to have a field day. Oof. I probably need to put money on the Rams to win this game. Yeah, I mean, up front, I don't see how the Dolphins get pressure against this front. And they, they have good corners. I get it. Byron Jones, Xavier Howard. I really like them. I like their safeties too. Pretty good. Their linebackers are freaking atrocious, though. Some of the worst in football. And their front overall is not going to be able to get pressure. Chuck Lawson's playing decent. Ginkle, seriously? Yeah, no. They got no chance in that respect. I don't expect them to stop the run at all, actually. And in that case, I'm probably going to be pushing for the Rams, though. If the Rams can run the ball, they're going to win. And it looks like they're going to be able to run the ball, so they're probably going to win. Yeah, based upon the numbers, the only factor that the X factor is Tua. I mean, that's what it is. It's Tua. You know, both these defenses are very good, under 20 points a game. Only scoring about 25, 26 points a game, though. 24-20, 24-20. Yeah, that's probably about right in that kind of range. Yeah, just kind of where the 24-20, yeah, they have it at 46. That sounds about right. Okay. Yeah, the matchups definitely lean toward the Rams. Really, it's just going to come down to execution. But I expect them to be able to run the ball. They should be able to run the ball pretty well, actually. And if they can run the ball, they're going to control the clock. They're going to probably win this game. Yeah. All right. So I get the Rams. And we do have the Rams money line. Dolphins teaser +9. I'm scared about that, actually. I'm taking this off the board. I don't like it. Rams money line is the only bet to play, I think, in that game. I'm not even considering any other bets in that game. There's just too much uncertainty on the Dolphins side. I don't like. There's just too much. I mean, the coaching is definitely a big factor usually. But Brian Flores is not going to outcoach Sean McVay. So with that, I don't expect. Yeah, I expect the Rams to win this game. Okay, I'm going to move on to the game of the week. Steelers-Ravens. Lot to look at here and a lot to dissect. And I'm not sure if people really know, but the Steelers basically should have beat him last year with a backup quarterback. And not a lot of people, I guess, remember that. And maybe that's what it is, and that's why the money has moved on the Ravens and all that. But the matchup does not play well for the Ravens. I'll just tell you right now. Ravens do not match up well with the Steelers. They match up horribly with the Steelers, and I'll tell you why. 5 reasons. There's like 10 reasons, but at least 5 reasons. 1, Tuitt and Hayward are not going to be blocked by the interior linemen for the Baltimore Ravens this season, who are significantly worse than they were last season. Significantly worse. That's the reason why they haven't been able to just absolutely dominate. And the biggest reason is because up front, their big 3 are not anymore. They don't have elite center and guard play. They have okay guard play on one side and horrendous guard play on the other side, and below average center play. When you get pushed up front by Hayward and Tuitt, who are going to get one-on-one matchups inside, that's a big, big problem for Lamar Jackson. Big, big problem for the power running game that they want to do. And then you pair that with what they're going to want to do on the outside, which is force the Baltimore Ravens to throw along the edge, which means Marquise Brown and Boykin are going to have huge days along the outside on the perimeter, because those are the only passes that are going to be available. They're taking away the middle of the field. Mark Andrews will not be available in this game. I don't even think I'm going to start Mark Andrews on my starting roster. I'm not even kidding. I literally think he's going to have a horrible freaking game. But there is one matchup that is going to be very interesting because of the loss of their inside linebackers. That could be a factor for this game in Andrews, right? But I expect them to be smart about the way they play Andrews and have multiple guys around him, so that way that kind of stuff doesn't happen. But we'll see. We'll see. That injury was definitely a big factor. You take into account the other side of the ball, and that's where it's going to be really interesting. So you have the offensive line for the Steelers not playing particularly great, and they got a pretty good front for the Ravens. You know, Calais Campbell's a freaking monster. Ngakoue is a pretty good player. Judon's a pretty good player. Their corners can be beat, and they do give up some big plays. You know, whether or not being a huge factor or being a pretty decent factor in this game with it will be a raining game. So throwing the ball maybe not so much, but putting it at 66.9, I don't see that. I'm not really sure what they're looking at to where they get the 66.9, because the matchups actually favor the Steelers. Actually have a significantly better roster. Actually, after looking at it, it's actually not as close as I thought it was. If you look at it, the defensively, you actually have to give the edge to the Steelers. Just up front, they have more horses up front. And I like Calais Campbell, but Ngakoue and Judon are not grading out well. They're not. They're grading out actually pretty poorly. You combine that with Marcus Peters being torched all season. I love Marlon Humphrey and Jimmy Smith. They're solid corners. And Humphrey's, I expect Schuster to have a tough day. Claypool could have a decent day. Johnson could have a decent day on the outside if it wasn't raining. But the big factor, you're talking about going against the number one rush defense too in the Steelers. All right, I'm talking about the number one rush defense. We got they both like to run the ball. This is a little bit skewed because of Lamar Jackson, and then obviously passing 242 is a little bit low for them. Neither's even a 400-yard offense, which is pathetic. Going against these defenses, this game is going to be an under, folks. I'm bullish on the under in this game. Super bullish on the under in this game. And that's really where most of my money is in this game. And if you'll notice, they have it at 30-30. But it's really been their defenses that have kind of forced this action to happen, and the teams they played as well. Neither one of these teams has really played elite competition overall in their schedule. They played a couple, and that's about it. So it's really going to come down to, of course, as always, execution. But this game is really, really going to come down to the fronts. Who's going to dictate up front in these games? And that's, I think, who's going to win this game. Because I don't expect turnovers to be a major factor. I expect both teams to be very similar in that. I expect the margin to be very similar in that respect. So it should just come down to physicality and who's going to win up front in a game like this. And honestly, I think you could go either way in that respect. And so that's why I'm going to be taking the points, just because I expect this. I do like the Ravens to win the game. Just barely, but by a field goal. I expect the Ravens to win by a field goal. I got the Steelers 4.5, and I'm definitely taking the Steelers at 10.5. If you give me 10.5 on the Steelers against the Ravens in this matchup, in this kind of game, I will literally be absolutely shocked if that does not hit. That is as close to the safest bet as I can make. This right here, that 3-team teaser, those three right there are my picks. Those three right there I need to hit, and I expect to hit this week. Okay, and I'll just tell you that right now. Those are my three safest bets of the week, and the three bets that I have probably the most amount of money on this week. So that's where I'm leaning. That's kind of where we are, based upon the numbers that we've looked at. It just really dictates to those three numbers. I'm just going to go quickly over the last few games. We're getting kind of down to the nitty-gritty here. Not much left. Got the Broncos-Chargers is a stay-away game for us. Not a huge factor. There's a reason why they have it at basically a near 50-50 game, with a slight edge going to the Broncos, which should lend itself when you're getting 3 points, guys. If you're getting 3 points and you're getting the percentage here, that's something to look at. They are the home team as well. It's going to be a beautiful day. We actually have the over in this game. It's probably one of the only overs of the week. 23-19 is honestly, I do slightly have the Broncos ahead of them, just barely. Honestly, this should probably be 20 and they should be 19. Yeah, I like Detroit just a hair better than Denver right now. Drew Lock's going to have a bounce back game too, so that's going to be interesting. These teams both run the ball decently well, not great. Obviously, Herbert's been balling out. So, that's why you're going to see around 300 for him. And they are going to out yardage them. I do actually expect them to out yardage them. And really, the Chargers are going to probably control most of this game for a lot of the game. They do score more points as well, obviously. And so this is a little bit skewed because of their defense is really only giving up around like 18 points a game, but their offense has been so bad this season that their offense has basically been giving up points a game, like multiple pick sixes this season, return touchdowns. I mean, we're talking ridiculous stuff that just should not be happening. And that's going to probably be the bigger factor in this game because the matchups actually, Broncos have a slightly better roster. They are hurt though, so that's where it's like, I don't know. They do also have a better defense as well, but they Chargers have the better quarterback. So often you want to kind of lean toward the quarterback. Is the only reason why we do like. Oh, oops! Why did I say Chargers teaser? That's the most absurd thing. It's Broncos teaser. I don't know why it was listed as Chargers teaser. +9. All right, but it's kind of like a stay away, honestly. I wouldn't really recommend betting that game. We need to keep moving. Keep this moving. Where are we at? There we go. And we are Saints Bears. I do like the Saints just barely 61%. I would expect it a little bit higher even. But that number is kind of dictated toward that. I think that's pretty similar, so that makes sense. But this is where the factor comes in. 25-mile-an-hour winds. Here's the thing, though. Bears don't run the ball. They don't know how. They're the worst rushing team in football. They're the worst rushing team in football. They can't run. And Saints can. And Bears actually are not great at stopping the run. Like, you'd think, oh, yeah, Bears defense, they're good, right? Wrong. They're actually not good. They give up 120 rushing yards a game compared to what the Saints do at 89.7, which is the reason why I say take the under prop on the rushing prop, right? Except 25-mile-an-hour winds, they're going to probably get 25 carries. So even if they suck, they might still hit above 84 here just because of how many carries they're going to have to get. Nick Foles is freaking atrocious right now, though. Breeze at 255 is nothing special either. Like, they're not throwing the ball either. Nobody's throwing the ball in this game. Saints just have the better roster, better overall team. The way Foles has been playing, too, I expect him to turn the ball over. Honestly, after looking at the stats and looking at the matchups, really, this game should be a much higher. It should be 7.5. I mean, how are the Bears scoring points? I don't see them scoring points in this game. Like maybe 10. Maybe they get 10 points. I don't know. They're not gonna be able to run the ball. Not against this front, and they're not gonna be able to pass the ball really. I mean, they got pretty good corners and decent safeties versus bad receivers for the Bears, really. Outside of Robinson. I don't know. I mean, it's really going to come down to if Breeze is washed, because they should easily win this game. Easily win this game. They should win by 2 touchdowns. Like, the matchups are horrible for the Bears. They got some pretty good players, but wow. They don't match up well at all. Holy cow. I might need to put some money on the Saints this week. The numbers just don't look well for the Bears. I don't like it. I got the bet. Yeah. Saints all the way. I might change. I think this might be a. Oops. I don't know what I just did there. That's amazing. That's kind of crazy. Okay. Yeah. I'm bullish on the Saints this week. Yeah. I like that. I like that bet. I'm gonna definitely put some money on the Saints. The numbers definitely do not make sense for the Bears to win. The only way the Bears win is if they kill them in the turnover margin. I mean, not win, like kill them. They got to win by at least 2, probably 3 in the turnover margin to win that game. I mean, it could happen with 25-mile-an-hour winds, but got me, man. I don't see the Bears winning that game. The Seahawks and Niners. Interesting. Very interesting. They literally have it as a 50-50. You don't see that very often. With a beautiful day, should be a very evenly matched rushing attack. Passing attack, obviously, is going to go toward Russ, but their yards given up through the air are just so freaking bad. The problem is Garoppolo's just not good. I'll be honest though, folks. It looks like the numbers and the matchups are actually going to San Francisco. San Francisco should actually win this game, and really, it's going to come down to whether or not Russell is Russ. Got to be Russ, and that's okay. So I'm going to be taking the Niners and the points. Yeah, I got the Niners and the points here. We got the 2.5, and I got the 9.5 teaser. I'm actually okay with this. This is actually a worthwhile bet. This 9.5 here. I'm gonna pair this with this Saints here on a few cards and do kind of some off money cards. Get away from those 3 games that where probably most of the money is on for a lot of people this week. And then we need to get to these last couple games really fast. They're really ugly games, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on them. It is going to rain, though, so just be wary of that. It may rain. I should say it may rain, but it did say around game time that it probably will clear up, but it will be kind of some wet, sloppy field that they're going to be playing on. So, just take that into account. It is going to be a little bit sloppy of a game. I expect overall it'll be a sloppy game. Defenses should win out in this game just because of that factor. Neither team can really run that great. I think Eagles can run a little bit better. This passing stat is super skewed. It's probably going to be closer to like 230 in this game, which is why their overall numbers are going to be significantly lower than the Eagles. The away rushing given up is like, this shouldn't even be almost 200 yards a game on the ground they give up. Seriously, Cowboys? Seriously? Like, do you want to play defense? Like, at all? Like, that's so pathetic. Over 40 yards more than the next closest team that's playing this week. That's so freaking egregious. No, okay, I'm sorry. I forgot about the 150. Forgot about that 150. That's so bad, bro. Well, worst defenses, honestly, the orders of the star. Let's see. I feel like teams are probably giving mercy on them. Almost 35 a game. Yeah. I mean, Eagles should win. Should win pretty easily. Not just doesn't go well. But 10.5. I mean, I have it at 7.5, and I haven't bet a single dime since the line moved above 7.5. And honestly, I'm not recommending 10.5 to anybody. And you'll notice I don't even have it up here. I do like Eagles money line. If you can teaser it down to 2.5, that'd be great. 3.5 even, that's still pretty decent. But honestly, at this point, I have to avoid this game. I have a lot of money. On the Eagles early in the week. Hopefully, you guys made your bets on the Eagles early in the week because just knowing that it was going to be continuing to go up. And honestly, I'm a little surprised it didn't move all the way to 13.5 and kind of just stuck around 10.5. That is a little bit surprising to me. This one has moved to 12.5. I don't know why I listed it 10. Current line is minus 12.5. And that would make this 6.5, which is still pretty good. A 6.5 teaser on this game, it's still pretty good and worth betting. But yeah, I have it at 4.5. That's where I bet. So just something to keep in mind. If you do know the stuff early in the week, it's definitely take a look at some of the early odds, especially for some of the teasers. They just get really, really tough as you get closer to Sunday, as more of the information comes out, as more injury information comes out and weather information comes out. just on these games. So I do recommend doing your research a little bit earlier if you can. Try to get some bets in a little bit earlier in the week when the odds are just a little bit better. So like I got some really, really nice odds. For instance, I think I got Titans at -5. I got, where are we? Packers hasn't really changed. I think I got it -5.5 at one point. This hasn't really changed. Rams Dolphins hasn't changed too much, although it has moved a bit toward the Dolphins. People are for some reason betting on the Dolphins. The Steelers has moved. I think it was at 6.5 or 6 when the opening line moved, and then dropped all the way at 3.5, and then now it's at 4.5, and that's probably where I think it's going to sit. Is at 4.5, maybe down to 3.5, but I expect it to be right around 4 by the start of the game. This hasn't really moved either. This hasn't really moved too much either, which is a little surprising because I was expecting this to move all the way to 6.5, 7. Just because of the Saints factor, but people still like the Bears for some reason, even after the freaking horrendous showing they put in last week. You got the Niners Seahawks. Hasn't moved too much. I think it was at 3 or 3.5. No, yeah, it has moved a little bit actually. I think it was at 3.5 for the Niners. Now it's at 2.5, which is unfortunate if you are betting on the Niners side. And then obviously this is the big one. This has moved over 3 points already from 7.5 all the way to 10.5, and this one as well, I believe, was at 9.5 and has moved all the way to 12.5. So those are just some of the early lines to kind of consider. If you can get your bets in a little bit earlier, you just obviously have to take a little bit more risk going against injuries and weather, and just understanding game flow and just being able to do the full breakdowns and stuff. So those are our picks for the week. I hope. Hopefully you all will win some money. The big bets being right here. My favorite teaser right here with the Packers, Titans, and Steelers plus 10.5. All really, really good bets in my opinion. If you want to throw on maybe a Bucks here, maybe an Eagles, especially if you can get it for 2.5. Maybe a Niners, but I don't know. I do kind of like the Saints quite a bit now after looking at the numbers again. This one's interesting, but I would probably avoid completely that game. Maybe bet the over in this game. Not much here either. This is another stay away game. Don't like that one at all. Obviously, Steelers Ravens. This one's just like an egregious football game, 1 versus 32. The fact that it's only at 19.5 is, keeping this teaser alive for 13.5 as a 2-touchdown win for the Chiefs should be happening. I mean, that's egregious if the Chiefs can't beat the Jets by 2 touchdowns. The Packers are one of the bets of the week, but at the same time, I'm scared, so I'm fading them, and I'm actually probably not betting them the rest of the weekend just because I have so much money on the Packers already that I'm going to probably fade them. This is one of my favorite bets of the week, actually. I do like the Titans. I mean, they should beat the Bengals. That's all this is. Money line and teaser. That's all that 6.5 gives you. I do have them a couple of spots where I have them clearing the 6.5 though. And then this is such a weird one. The numbers actually favor the Patriots in the ground game, especially with the weather being what it is. But Bills should win this game. They should win this game. They need to win this game, I should say, for their own sanity. And if they can't beat them now, then when are the Bills going to win? When are they going to take over the division, right? So that's the big question. All that stuff. So hopefully you guys got some good information. You got some good bets going in for this week, and good luck to all you in your Week 8 bets. I thank you all for listening to NFL Kings, and be sure to subscribe for more content as we're going to make sure we get our picks out each week. I apologize for not getting my picks out last week. It actually really hurt you guys because I hit every single pick last week. I'm not even kidding. I literally hit every game last week. I won a crap ton of money last week, and I'm really kind of mad that I didn't make the picks for you guys because I know somebody would have probably won some money on that. So hopefully you guys win some money this week. We're absolutely killing it. We're over 75% picks right now on the season, and just absolutely killing it on the season and doing really well. So I definitely recommend going through all these games and lean a little bit more on those Titans, Green Bay, and Steelers bets. And hopefully you guys can all win some money this week, and catch y'all in Week 9.